Tonight, pet organizations in Fort Collins and northern Colorado accused of harming animals.
And we're pitting two CSU athletes against each other in the ultimate face-off.
And Fort Collins is a growing city, but are certain protected groups being accommodated?
All that and more on CTV.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Tate Paisley.
And I'm Gabriele Hibbitts.
Fort Collins police were involved in a shooting right off campus yesterday afternoon. According to a Fort Collins press release, officers responded to a call of a man holding a handgun near the intersection of West Elizabeth and South Shield Street. Once they arrived on the scene, the man began threatening a woman and two small children. After the man refused to lower the weapon, one officer fired their weapon, striking the suspect. Medical assistance was then provided to the man, and he was taken to a nearby hospital. Fort Collins police assured the community that there is no longer a threat to the public. Now, let's head over to our weather station to see if they need to strap on their snow boots next week. Elise?
Thanks, Tate. Good evening, Rams. I'm Elise Gerke, here to bring you tonight's weather forecast. Currently in Fort Collins, it's 38 degrees with a 47% precipitation. It was a little bit sunnier today than yesterday. As you can see, spring is starting to poke through. Heading down the I-25 corridor, it's starting with Fort Collins with 27 degrees, 29 in Denver, and 30 in both Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Heading over to the eastern plains, it's 25 in Lehman, 29 in Burlington, and over on the western hemisphere, we have 18 in Vail and 16 in Telluride with an avalanche warning, and a little bit warmer with 35 in Grand Junction. Tomorrow, it's looking a little bit warmer with a high of 44 and a low of 26. There's a 40% chance of snow and 55% humidity. Saturday, it's looking like there's going to be some snow with a high of 36 and a low of 12. Sunday, it's going to get sunny with a high of 35 and a low of 14. Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be cloudy, and so it will also be cloudy on Wednesday. And that brings me to the end of tonight's report. Back to you, Tate.
Thanks, Elise. Two northern Colorado veterinary clinics are suing Precious Memories Pet Cemetery and Crematory in Fort Collins. Reports claim the establishment was involved in such practices as dumping animals' remains in mass graves or landfills instead of completing requested services. The clinics ceased operations with Precious Memories after discovering these practices in September of 2022, leading to a lawsuit filed in late January for breach of contract, fraudulent misrepresentation, and violations under the Colorado Consumer Protection Act. Precious Memories denies the allegations, stating they handle cremations and burials with care and comply with all laws and regulations.
Last week, NOCO Humane coordinated the relocation of 78 large dogs from unlicensed animal sanctuary in Lyons, a town just north of Boulder. 72 were transferred to shelters and rescues across the Front Range, and 6 are now cared for in the Larimer County campus. The removal follows a year-long dispute between the sanctuary's founder and the regulatory authorities over licensing and care standards. Culminating in a court order, the dogs transfer if not removed by the owner. Despite claims of compliance, the sanctuary's founder faces legal challenges and seeks to relocate the dogs to Montana, while NOCO Humane provides medical and behavioral evaluations for the animals awaiting adoption. Stay tuned later in the show. The disability community at CSU speak out.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate.
The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break. With the new year comes a new dean for the College of Liberal Arts. Last semester, former Dean Ben Withers announced his departure from CSU, calling for a replacement. Now, a search committee is on the hunt for a new CLA Dean for Colorado State, until the position is filled. Economics professor Elisa Bronstein will serve as interim dean beginning on February 19th. Bronstein is also the associate dean of research and graduate programs for the college.
One of the largest and most immersive CSU academic events is taking place this month. The Little Shop of Physics allows students from College of Natural Sciences to teach children with 300 science experiments and displays. The 30-year tradition takes place Saturday, February 24th from 10 to 4 in the LSC ballrooms. Parking is free and the Student Food Center court will be open.
Renowned plant biologist Dr. Bella Walser delivered 2 lectures on critical topics in plant biology. Her first lecture, At the Root of Cellular Responses to Water Extremes, delved into the mechanisms behind plants' adaptive responses to environmental stresses. The second lecture, titled A Look to Nature for Water-Wise Crops, emphasized the importance of sustainable agriculture.
In this case, someone A was introduced through breeding, and so these are really almost like twins, but they differ in the presence and the absence of the gene. And in this case, these are 2 different plants that were produced by genetic engineering. So it's relatively well controlled, even though it's often rain-fed.
These lectures offer all CSU students a unique opportunity to engage with cutting-edge research and gain insights into the future of agriculture and environmental sustainability. With topics spanning from cellular biology to global food security, next year's Thornton Massa Lecture Series promises to inspire and educate our campus community on the future of agriculture. Stick around after the break. 2 CSU athletes do the Ultimate Fitness Challenge.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back from the break, Ram fans. I'm Zoe Weir. Tonight, I thought I'd do a segment with some players in their off-season. We all know how good these guys are on the football field, but now it's time to find out who is the true winner across a few different sports. Here's how it went.
My name is Boom Jock. I'm a freshman linebacker, and today I'm gonna be beating Nora and everything because I'm an athlete. He didn't play any sports, basketball, soccer, anything. I'm beat him in everything today.
My name is Nuragaku, redshirt sophomore, defensive end, play football. Today I'm going to destroy Boom at soccer, basketball, tennis, flexibility, any sport, any sport there is out there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you heard it from them. The competition is already brewing, and the first test we have for them is going to be flexibility.
Yeah, you know, I won the flexibility contest, easy, you know, I want to know. We're about going to volleyball. His girlfriend plays volleyball, and I'm still going to beat him. Kind of crazy. So, you know, next up.
To be honest with you, I really think I should have won the flexibility, you know what I'm saying? The handstands should have been me. Little false hand placements, all good though, you know. Volleyball, that's my thing. If you know, you know.
I'm gonna get that. Give me that. Nah.
If you know me, you know I'll be doing volleyball. You know, Boom's not ready for the action, he's not ready for the camera. But at the end of the day, it's me versus me.
You know, we split 1-1. You know, he won the first one. He was scared to go first, you know what I'm saying? But when we play basketball, you already know what's going to happen.
All right, the tiebreaker is going to be a one-on-one matchup, and they both get a chance to be on offense and defense.
Hey, you know I'm just a winner. I told you I'm an athlete. I won every single one of them but volleyball. I told you I was going to win. What was that, 4 out of 5? What, 3 out of 4? I told you, I'm just like that. We play basketball, you know what happened. I told you, I'm like that. Let's go.
I was unprepared. I ain't got no shoes on. Nobody told me that I needed shoes for this. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, though. I'll get a little brother win. You know, that's his first win of his life. You know what I mean? It's all good, though. Here's what it is.
As I said earlier, we know their football skill is there. But it's a different story when we talk about volleyball and flexibility. Their competitive spirit was surprisingly impressive, but it's safe to say they should stick with football. Now, don't go away just yet, because our 3 chief news anchors take an in-depth look on disability life in Fort Collins and CSU.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here. But an awkward silence can be a great thing. It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down. Doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
Oh, gee. You all right now? You cool?
Dog and dog.
Just show you're there for them. Go on, Kelly. CZ awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back from the break. I'm JJ McKinney.
I'm Kate Sherman.
And I'm Bella Walser.
Fort Collins is growing every year, with a 1.3% increase in its population of almost 170,000, according to the U.S. Census.
With a city that's constantly growing and a university that sees students from all over the world, people from all walks of life had made Fort Collins their home.
While all these new faces may be exciting, there's a responsibility of acceptance and accommodation that the city upholds for protected groups.
One of these groups are those who are living with disabilities.
Fort Collins offers a variety of different services and accommodations within the community, one of those being Disabled Resource Services.
The Disabled Resource Services was founded in 1978 by Nancy Jackson. They now serve hundreds of people in the community.
So our mission is to work with people with disabilities to help them achieve their maximum level of independence. And we do that by doing peer counseling, information and referral, education. We help them learn independent living skills. It's just whatever the client needs. One thing that's super special about us is most of us who work here have a disability of one kind or another, so we know what it's like, and we know how challenging the barriers can be, and we know how to overcome the barriers. So that's really special.
The doors are open to anyone with any disability. The Disabled Resource Services works with people free of charge. The only thing that costs money is renting medical equipment.
It's priceless seeing how people's lives can improve for the better just by taking small steps. And the benefit system is really complex and not easy to navigate. I'd like to say that we have about 36,000 people. We estimate there are 36,000 people in Fort Collins with some kind of disability. And many of those disabilities are invisible to most of us. And it's a private matter that often we won't know about. So we just need to keep an open mind when we are communicating with people, when we see people struggling, that they might have a disability and that we can work through it. I guess that would be my main message.
The Disabled Resource Services offers a safe space within our community for anyone facing disability challenges.
Now, if we were to narrow in a bit more and take a look into the halls of CSU, many students live with disabilities and have needs that must be accommodated. CSU's Student Disability Center helps to make sure students have equal access and opportunity throughout their academic journey. Making CSU an inclusive and accessible place for all students, the SDC focuses on building a community so students with disabilities know that they are not alone.
We hear from students a lot, especially when they get near graduation, that because of the access, accommodations, and support we provided them throughout their journey is what helped them graduate at CSU, help them graduate and get through their time at CSU, that without, having been given their accommodations, which are a form of their civil rights, they wouldn't have been able to make it through.
According to Tenor, there are over 3,000 students with disabilities here at CSU, and that number is growing. The SDC provides students with direct accommodations related to their disability, hoping to make the process as easy as possible. But they also provide general support for students, giving them a place to feel comfortable sharing their experiences.
Earn that degree, pass that class, get whatever their goal of success is what we're here to try to support them through.
If you are needing assistance from the Student Disability Center, the first step is to contact their office and make an appointment with an accommodation specialist. They will walk you through the whole process and refer you to another office if you need it. Now, as we've seen so far, current accommodations and steps are being taken to assist people with disabilities across campus and the city.
However, how does the disabled community view the systems put in place for them? What does it truly mean to be a person with a disability in the Fort Collins community?
CSU is home to many communities, with people often joining in search of a place to be seen and heard. And UC Lamoureux has been involved in so many of these communities, finding time to give back.
I used to paint a lot. I did a lot of painting for the White House. I did a lot of painting just for a lot of famous people. And now I'm kind of very into psychology and clinical psychology, and that's like my big thing right now.
One community that works towards this sense of camaraderie are those living with disabilities on campus. Gabriele is one student who wants to ensure that those who are a part of the disabled community are recognized, being a part of the community herself.
And I have osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a brittle bone disease. People also call it OI for short.
And then that kind of limits me to walking, so I have to use a wheelchair. Had it my whole life, and I used to have a lot of broken bones when I was younger. I think I've had like 300 plus broken bones. I think when I was younger, just living with it was much harder. I would go to school and I would be very worried about the activities I could do, or just kind of what the average kid does. So like going out to recess on the playground was pretty scary for me. It's really hard for people with disabilities to kind of speak for themselves and kind of ask for what they need, what they want. Simple things like holding the door or pulling out a chair at the table, simple things like that.
The needs of those with disabilities and more accessibility has been a constant topic, with many claiming that some changes are needed.
Our goal is to make adjustments at CSU. Things like the brick sidewalks that are now chipped away is really a focus here. Is just kind of making things smoother, easier, and just having people with disabilities, their lives much easier.
Lemuel isn't the only one who shares the concerns of the disabled community. CSU student Sammy Trout is also a very present member of the community, with ideas about disability representation.
I actually didn't fully realize I was someone with a disability until very recently. I'm a middle child instead of triplets, and we are all on the autism spectrum in some way, shape, or form. So I think the hardest struggle that I've had here in terms of kind of being within that space is being accepted for my disability, since a lot of my disabilities are more invisible, and if they're physical, they're not as, I'm not a wheelchair user, I'm not someone who uses mobility aids or needs special equipment. It's more, mental learning and then even internal, sort of issues.
Of course, there are many different people who belong to the disabled community, each with their own needs for accessibility.
Disability is a very widely encompassing thing. It is not just folks that have physical disabilities, it's people that have invisible disabilities. Having disability is the largest marginalized group within the United States, and that's the same way internationally, and it's the same way here. And so I think me and my positions, I've been able to really advocate for those folks and being able to go that we are a much wider community than folks may see at the very beginning. In terms of the access to spaces and education, I think is very limited. Even within, like CSU, for example, a lot of their events are really inaccessible, and they just voted to say, no, we don't want to make that a constitutional requirement to make the event accessible. So there's still a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of progress that needs to be made.
While there's a lot to be done in terms of accessibility on campus, there's still been a lot of progress made. Student Alex Kristoff shows that there's a thriving community of support here.
CSU has been a dream school of mine since middle school, and I've just loved the culture, the diversity, and everything that CSU and Fort Collins as a whole has to offer me, and help me better myself for the future.
It's kind of hard for people with disabilities. So I took that as more of a leadership role, especially in the Disability Club. I'm kind of there for people to ask for what they want. I definitely find a community within the Disability Club. I feel like everybody can be themselves, and that's kind of what the Disability Club is too, just to kind of create a community. And then have a place for people to feel accepted and be themselves.
Overall, the disabled community calls Fort Collins and CSU their home, and will keep working to ensure that it's a happy and accessible community for all their members.
I think overall, my time here at CSU has been very enlightening to the struggles of a lot of oppressed groups here within the United States and just internationally overall, and the intersectionality of those oppressed groups. And I think one of the big things I highlight that is within disability, and I think there's a lot of conversations that I have with folks that regarding intersectionality and just how we all share in that same level of marginalization.
It's definitely a challenge being overlooked or looked at differently. I don't want to be like too cliche about it, instead of like being the don't give up part and it only gets better from here, but truthfully it does.
As I've gotten older and I've kind of accepted myself more and my disability more, I've just loved my disability, I guess, and going to conventions for people with disabilities, and kind of talking out and creating the disability club for people with disabilities. So yeah, I'm kind of an advocate for people, I guess, with disabilities. We're all different and we're not perfect, and there isn't a picture perfect of what somebody needs to be.
The disabled community of Fort Collins is a community of strength, courage, and optimism in the face of adversity. It was truly inspiring and heartwarming to sit down with such great people and get a new perspective. There are so many things I really didn't know about, like just how many resources were really available for people. I mean, it was honestly pretty amazing. And then seeing these people just learn from them and use them to uplift their communities, you know?
Yeah. No, totally. I had no idea how many, like how big of a community there actually was on campus and in like Fort Collins in general with just people with disabilities. And it was really interesting to just hear all the different resources they offer and all the different, I don't know, like ways in different clubs. I just had no idea how big of a community it was.
Yeah, I learned that there are so many disabilities that people can be struggling with every day that are unseen to everyone around them, and so just to treat people with that patience and kindness, because you never know what they're dealing with.
It's very nuanced, you know? Yeah, but it's incredible what people can do in the face of adversity, and learning from all of them is very inspiring. So I'm very grateful that we all got the chance to do so.
Yeah, that was a great experience.
Well, as Troughton has stated, while the Fort Collins and CSU community have a long way to go, have come a long way, there's still a long way to go before things are truly expecting and accessible for everyone. Steps are still being made. One of them will be the Actions and Accessibility Caucus, where a report will be given on accessibility concerns across campus in the near future. So it seems like no matter what, the disabled community of Fort Collins will be seen, heard, and find ways to advocate for a more accepting Fort Collins.
Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you tonight.
Make sure to tune in for the next Tuesday night's episode of Sports. Have a great night.